relationships. That's it. Everything that comes later, the rumors, accusations, reinterpretations, get layered onto that line retroactively, which is exactly how hip-hop myth-making works. I'm 20 years old, but I act like I've been here before, like I'm a veteran. This is temporal dislocation. He's saying his age doesn't match his experience density. Initiation compresses time. Trauma accelerates maturity. So veteran here doesn't mean longevity. It means repeated exposure, survival under pressure, having seen cycles complete. That fits perfectly with incarceration young. This fits perfectly with incarceration young. Repeated descents, early confrontation with death, addiction, and betrayal. He hasn't lived long, he's lived deep. He speak this shit through me like I'm a prophet, but I'm a reverend. This line is subtle and smart. A prophet receives the message, a reverend delivers it responsibly. So he's distinguishing between inspiration as the prophet and stewardship as the reverend. That's humility. He's not claiming I am the source. He's saying I am accountable for how this message gets handled. That aligns with everything we've been tracking. Vessel language, relay language, messenger positioning. He's acknowledging function, not divinity. Put my blood, sweat, and tears in all these lyrics because this is my exodus. This is where the initiation story gets named. Exodus is not just escape. It's leaving bondage, wandering, uncertainty, leadership under pressure, and freedom that isn't immediate comfort. Calling this as Exodus means the box equals Egypt, the descent equals bondage, the return equals responsibility. And notice, Exodus isn't clean. People relapse. People doubt. People complain. People want to go back. That makes it the perfect metaphor for Kodak's cycle. I'm dying so I can live, I resurrected it. This is not metaphor anymore. This is explicit initiation language. Death to life, loss to meaning, end to rebirth. But notice he says, I'm dying so I can live, I resurrected it. He repeats this twice. This is not metaphor anymore. This is explicit initiation language. Death to life, loss to meaning, end to rebirth. But notice what he says. He doesn't say I resurrected myself. He says I resurrected it. It equals the life, the spirit, the purpose, the path. That implies something already existed. Something was dormant or buried, or something needed revival. This connects directly back to being sent up, being called from below, resurrection after the box, blood baptism imagery, and the repetition matters. Repetition in rap is usually emphasis. Here it's integration. He's saying it until it sticks. Watch how these lines form a complete arc. Veteran, experience beyond the years. Prophet, reverend, receives and delivers. Exodus, escape with responsibility. Death, resurrection, to irreversible transformation. That's not random spirituality. That's a full initiatory declaration. At this point, the listener can't say we're reading too much into it because Kodak himself just said prophet, reverend, exodus, resurrection. We didn't introduce the language. He did. All we did was slow it down. This isn't Kodak flirting with spiritual imagery. This is him naming his life as an initiation. Death, escape, responsibility, and return. He's not claiming perfection. He's claiming transformation. When Kodak says I'm 20 years old, but I act like I've been here before, that's not bragging. That's return language. In messenger archetypes, especially in Afro-diasporic traditions, authority doesn't come from age. It comes from having crossed something. Been here before doesn't have to mean reincarceration literally. It means I've seen cycles, I've crossed thresholds, I recognize this terrain. That's exactly how someone sounds when they move between states, not just grown up fast. He speak this shit through me like I'm a prophet, but I'm a reverend. That's textbook messenger positioning. Prophet receives from unseen. Reverend interprets, delivers, stands in the middle. He's not claiming to be God. He's claiming to be used. That lines up perfectly with the gatekeeper idea. Someone who doesn't own the message but controls the passage of it. Okay? Life, death, resurrection equals movement between worlds. Now look at the repetition. I'm dying so I can live, I resurrected it. This isn't poetic exaggeration. This is boundary crossing language. He's talking about dying to living, from living to dying, ending one state to activate another. That's not a one-time event, that's navigation, which is exactly what a gatekeeper does. Moves between realms, understands both sides, isn't fully owned by either. Let's talk about Exodus as passage and not escape. When he calls his work my Exodus, that's important. Exodus isn't just leaving, it's guiding people through, knowing the dangers, standing between bondage and freedom. That's not savior talk, that's path opening talk. And path opening is the core of the gatekeeper archetype. Papa Legba isn't about holiness or evil, he's about access. He stands at the crossroads, he speaks both languages, he allows movement up and back. He opens paths others can't. Kodak's language mirrors that function. Sent me up, relay these messages. Death to life to resurrection, from prophet to reverend, exodus to return. He's not claiming purity, he's claiming permission to move between worlds. Notice the language he's using here. Dying, living, resurrecting, exodus, prophet, reverend. That's not spiritual imagery, that's messenger language. He's describing someone who can move between states, between worlds, and come back with something intact. That's gatekeeper energy.